5 spine-chilling teacher stories exposed, terrifying secrets from haunted classrooms revealed. Mia Davidson stood before the imposing facade of Willow Creek High, an inexperienced high school history teacher teetering on the edge of anticipation and dread. Whispers of chilling stories clung to the very air around her, a haunting, ghostly legacy that seemed to seep through the walls. Could it really be possible that tragedy lurked inside this school, waiting to ensnare the unwary? 5 missing seniors, one every year, and rumors of a beloved teacher who vanished decades ago. Was she destined to become part of that grim narrative? As the sun dipped behind the clouds, shadows danced across the old classroom she would soon call her own. With each creak of the floorboards, Mia's heartbeat quickened. Her new life was meant to be a refuge from the disarray of her New York City upbringing, a sanctuary of inspiration. Yet, unease curled at the edges of her mind, asserting itself in her chest like a tight, cold grip. The classroom held its breath, echoing with the anxious silence of years gone by. Students filed in the next day, laughter and chatter filling the air like a bomb, but theirs was an undercurrent of anxiety. Mia observed their faces closely, eyes darting with fear, shoulders hunched as if burdened by an invisible weight. Whispers swept through the hallways like an insidious fog, chilling Mia's heart. She had heard the rumors. How could she shake off the nagging feeling they were more than just legends? As days turned into weeks, terrifying whispers transformed into haunting voices that crept through the corners of her classroom. A chill would settle, the room would darken, and that whisper would call out her name soft, pleading, desperate. It gnawed at her soul, clawing under her skin, lingering like a malignant shadow. What was happening? Why did the walls seem to close in, suffocating her spirit with dread? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a fierce determination igniting within her, Mia began searching for the truth. A dark web unfolded, exposing a chilling conspiracy involving the administration. Mr. Hargrove's charming facade growing ever more sinister. What connection did he have to the missing? Each layer she peeled back felt like another step into a suffocating nightmare. The walls of the school bore witness, encapsulating every secret and lie. One stormy evening, thunder roared outside, rattling the old windows like some restless ghost awakening. Mia stood alone in her classroom, feeling an unprecedented chill wash over her. The whispers enveloped her, a chilling melange of loss and dread. And then she heard it, a voice whispering, "Help me from the shadows." In that moment, dread hung thickly in the air. She realized that those who had vanished were not just unfortunate tragedies, they were fading souls caught in a ghastly trap. Her pulse raced as she fought against the creeping freeze that threatened to engulf her. The room fell silent, and Mia understood with piercing clarity that the only path forward was to confront the darkness. As the hollow whispers swirled, one ominous question echoed in her mind. Would she uncover the truth before it was too late, or had the house already chosen her as its next victim? Mia's breath quickened as she turned toward the source of the whisper, the darkness pooling like a living entity before her. Shadows twisted unnaturally on the walls, morphing into flickering shapes that resembled desperate hands reaching out. The air turned frigid, a biting chill racing through her, and she stiffened, fear rooting her feet to the floor. "Help me," the voice repeated, more fervently, like a plea sent from beyond the veil. A sickening dread pooled in her stomach. Who was it? What did they want? Her heart pounded, drowning out the sound of thunder crackling outside. "I'm here," Mia managed to whisper, her throat dry, voice a mere echo of the panic echoing within her. She was stumbling into something deeper than she had bargained for. This was not just about missing students, this was about the very dead weight of pain that clung to the hallways. Driven by an otherworldly force, she approached the darkest corner of the classroom. The fluorescent lights flickered angrily overhead, casting morbid shadows that danced along the scuffed floor. For a fleeting moment, she hesitated, her mind screaming at her to turn back, but deep inside, something burned, a determination to uncover the truth. As she stepped closer, an icy wind swept through, extinguishing the light momentarily. Shrouded in darkness, Mia felt the whispers surround her again, and she squinted against the oppressive gloom. Then, a figure formed, barely visible at first, like smoke coalescing into a shape. Its eyes glinted with unearthly sadness, a restless spirit begging for release. "What happened to you?" Mia's voice trembled. The figure lunged forward, the unsettling whisper morphing into a low growl. "Find us before he takes another." Mia staggered backward, clutching the edge of her desk. Her pulse rattled in her ears as the words echoed ominously. The spectral figure faded slowly, leaving her groping in the dark, breathless and filled with dread. A sliver of fear rooted itself deep inside her. What kind of monster would dare touch their innocent lives so casually? She had to dig deeper. The next day, Mia confronted Mr. Hargrove after class, the looming dread now a fierce urgency. "What can you tell me about the disappearances?" she demanded, her voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of anxiety. He paused, a flash of something. Was it guilt? Crossing his face before he masked it with the charm that had once captivated the students. "Just legends, Mia. Ghost stories to scare the freshmen. You shouldn't let your imagination run wild," he replied, a casual dismissal that sent a shiver down her spine. "Legends don't vanish, people," she shot back, the fire in her voice gaining strength. She wasn't ready to back down. Hargrove's smile faltered, but in that fraction of a second, she saw something dark beneath it. An instinct to survive flared within her. This could not be it. That evening, a storm raged outside again, each raindrop sounding like a malicious cackle against the windows. With sheer grit, Mia decided to uncover her classroom's secrets. She was not just a teacher, she was a keeper of history, and secrets bound to the shadows. Rummaging through the archives in the basement, the air became thicker, the darkness more oppressive. As she turned a page of an old yearbook, a photograph slipped from it, a group of happy seniors from decades ago, yet all had the same determined expression in their eyes. A chill raced down her spine. One of them looked eerily like one of her current students. Before she could process it, a crash echoed throughout the basement, and the lights flickered violently. Mia's breath hitched as she turned, a shadow looming just behind her, a whisper curling around her heart like a serpent. "Find us, before it's too late." Mia knew she had to act fast, but would she uncover the truth of the past before the darkness consumed her entirely? Would she face the monster lurking within the school's walls, or would she become yet another name whispered by the living? The figure of the student from the photograph haunted her thoughts as those chilling whispers filled her ears once more. Just as she began to piece together the sinister threads, she felt the room grow colder. A feeling of impending doom settled in. What had she awakened beneath the school's floors? Who had she drawn anger towards herself? Something sinister stirred, waiting. The shadows shifted, a dark mass swirling in the cramped air of the basement. Mia pressed her back against the dusty shelves, heart racing as she felt the cold seep into her bones. "This isn't real," she whispered to herself, but the dread clawed up her throat like frozen fingers. Then, the lights flickered again, and she glimpsed an outline inside the suffocating darkness that loomed closer. A face formed, an expression that was both familiar and unsettling. It was the student from the photograph, eyes wide with terror and echoing her own fears. "Help us!" the voice strained through the spectral figure. Mia gasped, a choked sound of disbelief. "You're not real, you can't be." But the figure extended a hand, fingers curling as if trying to grasp the corridor of light that barely illuminated them. "It's not safe," it whispered. He's coming. Before she could react, the basement door slammed shut with a resounding thud. Cold panic crawled down her spine. She was trapped in this dim, suffocating space without an escape. The shadows pressed in tighter, and Mia felt the air choke her. "I have to get out." She turned and rushed towards the door, but ghostly laughter echoed around her, a cruel mockery, slicing through her resolve. When she threw her weight against the handle, it wouldn't budge. The whispers crescendoed, swirling like a tornado of lost souls, each plea more agonized than the last. "Find us. Fear him," they cried, their voices blending into an eerie symphony of warning. Mia staggered back, knees trembling. Fragments of conversations echoed in her mind, students too frightened to speak, the tales they shared about nightmares and things that lurked in the hallways at night. Had they all known something she didn't? She spun around, desperately seeking anything that could explain the chaos. The old yearbook lay open on the floor, and she flew toward it, frantically flipping through crumbling pages in search of answers. Names danced before her eyes, each one resonating with emotions, lives cut short, and stories left undone. Suddenly, a chilling breeze swept past her, extinguishing the flickering overhead light. She froze, breath caught in her throat, as a whispered phrase rolled like thunder in the void, "The Keeper." Mia's heart raced. Who was this keeper? And how did it connect to the disappearances? She tore through her memory, piecing the puzzle together, but visions of shadowy figures clouded her thoughts, unsettling and chaotic. The basement door shook violently, as if something sinister outside was trying to break in. "You don't understand," the student's voice pleaded, now a mere echo trapped in the encroaching void. It twisted into something darker, more urgent. "Find the wolf." "It's not over." Each word hitched in Mia's chest, her breath quickening with dread. A figure slipped by the periphery of her vision, the long shadows sliding along the walls morphed into something living, something hungry. The whispers grew louder, the urgency palpable. "Before it's too late." The voice shattered the silence, and Mia lunged toward the door, throwing herself against it with all her strength. With a shocking jolt, the door burst open, throwing her out into the hall. She stumbled to her feet, breathless, and felt the cold chase behind her, slick and hungry. Mia's instincts screamed at her to run. But what would she find if she followed those chilling voices? Where would the path lead her? None of it felt safe anymore. With a desperate resolve, Mia raced toward the light beckoning from down the hall, knowing she had only one chance to uncover the dark history that lay beneath her school. But who would she confront on that journey? And would they be friend or foe? Her heart pounded in her ears as Mia sprinted down the hallway, the distant echo of her footsteps swallowed by the oppressive silence. Each shadow that flickered in her peripheral vision felt alive, twisting and contorting, as if they were reaching for her. The stale air felt thicker now, clinging to her skin like a shroud. Find the wolf. The words clawed at her mind. What could it mean? The memory of that photo flashed before her, smiling faces, a group of students eternally preserved in a moment of joy, untouched by the horrors that lurked in the dark recesses of the school. All but one. The figure from the photograph, consumed by fear. Why him? Mia burst through a set of double doors, skidding to a halt. The gymnasium loomed before her, desolate and cavernous. Moonlight streamed through grimy windows, casting ghostly patterns on the floor. It felt like a void, a massive maw ready to swallow her whole. Yet, it was here that the whispers grew frantic. "He's coming," they called, a swirl of voices blending into a chaotic anthem of warning. Mia scanned the room, desperate for anything that could explain this madness. Her gaze fell on a flickering light in the far corner, an old, battered scoreboard. She moved closer, drawn by an invisible thread. The scoreboard had been defunct for years, yet the numbers flashed erratically, almost playfully. "Help us find the wolf." The urgency in the whispers intensified, and for a moment, she thought she could see figures moving beneath the bleachers, faces twisting in agony and fear. Mia ventured forward, crossing into the darkened expanse beneath the bleachers. An unsettling chill wrapped around her, an icy grip threatening to pull her into the shadows. There, half buried in debris, she found a torn jersey, the name Wilson faded and barely visible. "Wolf Wilson," she whispered, recognition hitting her like a cold wave. He was a player on the team, the one who went missing those years ago. Mia's hands trembled as she picked it up, the fabric still oddly warm against her skin. In that moment, memories flooded back. The rumors, the glances of pity directed toward the team. The tragedy they all buried beneath their laughter. A loud crash jolted her back to reality. Something heavy hit the gym walls above. Panic surged through her chest. She turned, heartbeat thundering. The sound was getting closer, an ominous thump, like footsteps marching toward her with intent. The whispers crescendoed. "Run! He's coming!" Mia stumbled backward, heart racing. Shadows grew thicker, coiling around her. She could feel the presence now, a weight in the air, a looming darkness that promised nothing but despair. Where? She gasped, looking for the source of the whispers, the voices guiding her through this nightmare. Suddenly, the scoreboard flickered violently, the numbers now reading 10 o'clock. The haunting laughter echoed through the gym, cold and twisted. Each second counted down to something sinister, something waiting just beyond the veil of shadows. As the components of dread twisted and turned within her, Mia dashed back toward the entrance, ready to escape, but a figure emerged from the darkness, tall and menacing, its form shrouded. His eyes glinted with sinister intent. "You shouldn't have come here." A shiver of terror coursed through Mia, and behind him, the shadows writhed, as if alive and hungry. What fate awaited her if she didn't uncover the truth of Wilson and the Keeper? What horrors lived within this haunted hall? "Help us!" the whispered pleas echoed from the gloom again, and it was fast closing in. Mia glanced back at the approaching darkness. Would she dare to confront it, or would the shadows claim her too? In that chilling moment, the truth hung in the air like a noose, waiting for her to step forward or retreat into the void. Mia's breath hitched in her throat as the figure stepped forward, a silhouette carved from her nightmares. The empty gym, once a place of cheers and laughter, now felt like a tomb, rich with a terrible foreboding. The air thickened with each pulse of the countdown on the scoreboard, the numbers still ticking downward. 9:59, 9:58. "Who are you?" she managed, her voice trembling against the oppressive darkness. The figure chuckled low, guttural, echoing in a way that made her skin crawl. "I am what you seek, child. I am all that remains of those who were lost." As he moved closer, the shadows coiled tighter around Mia, eager to pull her into their embrace. She felt heat radiating from Wilson's jersey, igniting memories she wished to forget but couldn't, and then, for the first time, she saw his face. Wolf Wilson wasn't just lost, he had become something monstrous, something tethered to the darkness of the gym. Desperation clawed at her. "What do you want from me?" "Revenge," he hissed, his eyes gleaming like shards of glass. "They all abandoned us, left us to rot while they carried on." Mia's heart raced, her instincts screaming for her to flee. The shadows seemed to hush, holding their breath, waiting with twisted anticipation. She glanced around the gym, searching for an escape route. Panic prickled her skin, and adrenaline surged. No way out. "Help us find the wolf," the whispers echoed in her mind, but now they sounded like a plea for vengeance, not salvation. "Join us," Wolf said, his voice dripping with malice. "Help us reclaim what is rightfully ours, Mia." The scoreboard illuminated the gym with a sudden brilliance as the countdown dropped to 9:55. Each number flashed like a pulse of dread, and in those moments, she felt the gym shifting, as if it were alive and aware of her every move. "No!" she shouted, defying the weight of despair pressing down on her. "You're wrong. I want to help you." The responding growl that emerged from Wolf was primal, furious. The shadows answered in kind, writhing violently. "You can't escape your fate. You're tied to us now like all the rest." Mia stumbled backward, the torn jersey slipping from her fingers. It fell to the floor, landing on top of the dust and debris, its faded lettering a sinister reminder of what had been lost. As it settled, the whispers intensified, voices of agony and betrayal intertwining with the Shadow Keeper's laughter. In a moment's clarity, she understood. The gym was a prison, a host to the restless spirits of those forgotten, and she was the unwitting catalyst to either their revenge or their release. The final seconds were ticking away, each number reducing her options, constricting her hopes of escape. "Why us?" Mia cried out, her voice cracking. "What did you want from Wilson?" His innocence was enough, Wolf intoned, moving closer, "and you're the next bundle of hope we shall snuff out." He lunged, shadows expanding like a tidal wave. Time slowed as panic surged. Mia's instincts kicked in. She dashed toward the nearest exit, but there was only darkness behind her now. With every ounce of strength, she pushed through the chill, racing toward the light. Just as Wolf's hand brushed against her arm, she collided with the doors, slamming them open. The fresh air hit her like a slap, and she stumbled out into the moonlit ground, gasping. Yet behind her, the laughter echoed. "You can run, but you can never hide." The Keeper is patient and we will find you. With her heart racing and the looming dread still buzzing in her veins, Mia took off into the night, determined to uncover Wilson's true fate. But as she glanced back once more, she saw something moving on the gym's exterior, a shadow lurking, waiting for nightfall to reclaim what was lost. What was the true secret of the Keeper? Why did Wilson's spirit linger? And could Mia survive with the echoes of his past haunting her every step? Mia's feet pounded against the pavement, a chaotic rhythm matching the wild thump of her heart. She couldn't shake the feeling of being chased, the shadows whispering behind her, clawing for her, reminding her of their presence. Each breath felt heavy, thick with the smell of wet earth and looming dread. She turned a corner, darting into a narrow alley. The moonlight poured down, illuminating a path that felt both safe and sinister. Her mind raced, desperate for clarity amidst the chaos. How could she escape the clutches of Wolf, the relentless spirit that had twisted someone she once knew into a harbinger of terror? Mia pressed against the cold wall, squinting into the darkness surrounding her. She wished she could hide, vanish into the shadows. But the whispers persisted, ghostly echoes teasing at the edges of her consciousness. Help us find the wolf. What did they want? What was their vengeance aimed at? She took a shaky breath, forcing herself to calm down. If she was going to understand what was happening, she had to confront it. With reluctant determination, she bolted back out into the street, hoping to find help or answers. As she ran, the hairs on her neck prickled like an electric current. Was it simply fear? Or was something lurking just out of sight? She glanced over her shoulder and then froze. A figure stood at the far end of the street, cloaked in shadow. As her eyes adjusted, she recognized the shape. It was Wilson, or what remained of him, now twisted and corrupted. His jersey glimmered in the moonlight, as if it somehow still held the warmth of life. Help us, Mia. His voice wafted through the air, silkier, laced with hunger. You're connected to me now. You can't escape that bond. No. Mia yelled, her voice breaking as she turned to run, desperate to distance herself from the apparition. More shadows flickered into existence, merging with Wilson, a terrifying congregation of those wronged, faces contorted in anguish. Each whisper drew nearer, pooling dread in her stomach. Find the wolf. Join us. Mia stumbled into a crowded street, headlights slicing through the night. But the people moving about were oblivious, immersed in their own lives, darting past without a second glance. They couldn't see the horrors lurking just beyond their periphery. A chill coursed through her. They were safe, but she was not. She sought refuge in a small cafe, bursting through the door and slamming it behind her. The bell jingled, blissfully unaware of the turmoil she brought inside. The stale smell of coffee mixed with the scent of burnt toast, a strange comfort amid the horror outside. She scanned the room for anyone who could help her make sense of the terror that followed, but the cafe was empty save for one figure sitting alone in the corner, an elderly woman hunched over a cup. Her white hair nearly glowed in the dim light, and when Mia caught her gaze, a flicker of recognition ignited. Mia, the woman whispered, the name slithering through the air like smoke. I've been waiting for you. The woman's eyes revealed depths of knowledge that chilled Mia to her core. You're tangled in something bigger than you realize. They will find you unless you uncover the truth. What truth? Mia whispered, her heart racing. The wolf. He's not alone. You must discover who else is trapped, who else wants to escape. Time is running out. The countdown from the gym echoed in her mind. Before she could ask more, the lights flickered and she heard the whispers seep through the walls, calling to her like an insatiable tide. The shadows gathered. With urgency swelling inside her, Mia looked back at the woman, desperate for guidance. But the seat was empty. The echoes grew louder, swallowing her once again. With a trembling resolve, Mia stepped back into the fog, the weight of the secrets pressing down around her. She had to uncover the truth and face the darkness, or risk becoming part of it forever. What was the truth behind the wolf? And who else was lurking in those shadows, waiting to ensnare her into their fate? Mia stepped out into the night, the shadows clinging to her like a second skin. Her breath came in ragged gasps as she forced herself to keep moving, the electric buzz of fear urging her forward. The world around her felt different now, dangerous and distorted. Every hushed whisper echoed the urgency of the woman's last words. The streetlights flickered overhead, casting a stuttering glow on the pavement ahead. She couldn't shake the sensation of being watched. With every footfall, she felt the shards of despair mocking her efforts to remain brave. Find the wolf. The words swirled in her mind like a trapped storm. Turning onto a quieter street, she noticed a silhouette bending over a manhole cover. As she approached, she realized it was a man, his face hidden in the shadows but his hands distinctly dirty. Mia's stomach churned. Was he a part of it? She wondered. Help me. The man rasped, his voice cracking like dry leaves. The sound stole her breath, freezing her in place. You have to help me escape him before he comes for you too. Her pulse quickened. Who? She asked, inching closer despite the instinct screaming for her to run. The wolf. Him and his minions. They're all around, just waiting, he muttered, glancing over his shoulder as if the mere mention of the name summoned unseen horrors. But you can't trust anyone. The man's eyes glinted with a wild light, and Mia felt something in her gut twist. I don't know what to do, she confessed, vulnerability creeping into her voice. Find the others. They're scattered, like lost souls. But their fates are entwined with yours. If you don't, you'll join us in his game. Panic surged into his voice, making it messily urgent, but before she could respond, the man's expression darkened. Here a look of terror draped his features. Run. Mia spun around and bolted back the way she came, heart hammering as the whispers began again, frantic and loud. The shadows twisted and slithered, forming a dense fog behind her. She felt something hot on her heels, pursing her, creeping just out of view. She rushed into an old bookstore, the wooden door squeaking in protest as she slammed it shut. The world outside seemed distant, muted, but the feeling of dread settled in her chest. The musty smell of aging pages hadn't changed, though it now felt like a tomb. She ran down the narrow aisles, fingers brushing against the spines of forgotten tales, half hoping for a revelation hidden within the pages. Help us. The voices repeated, echoing around her as if they were trapped within the very books. The specters, flitting on the edge of her periphery, made her skin crawl. Just then, a vibrant glimmer caught her eye. An old map spread across a nearby table. Kneeling beside it, Mia traced her fingers over the faded ink. Unsure why, she felt a pull towards a marked spot deep in the woods outside town. What is it? She murmured, the lines of the map digging into her palms. Suddenly, the air thickened, and she froze. A strangled whisper curled around her. You shouldn't have come here. The voice was gut-wrenching. She whirled around to find the elderly woman from the cafe standing there, a spectral figure that shimmered in the low light, each detail flickering in and out like a faulty bulb. What do you want from me? Mia gasped, confusion clouding her mind. The woman leaned closer, her smile unsettlingly serene. The truth lies in shadows, dear. You must confront the wolf, and the others. They are waiting. A chilling draft swept through the store, rustling the pages of the books. Mia understood the woman's meaning clear as day. She had to face them all, each fate interlinked. With one final look at the map, she got to her feet, panic racing through her veins. As the shadows thickened, she realized the stories weren't just legends. They were lives, trapped in an endless cycle of vengeance and grief. I can't be part of this, she cried, stepping back into the darkened aisles. The woman's laugh echoed, taunting and hollow. But you already are. You are our last hope, Mia. Shivers clawed at Mia's spine, fear morphing into the certainty of impending confrontation. She hesitated only briefly before darting out of the bookstore, determination fueling her steps. The truth awaited her. But could she confront the wolf, and those aligned with him, before they caught up to her? As she stepped back into the night, she couldn't shake the feeling that escaping the shadows was no longer enough. The hunt was only just beginning. Mia dashed down the street, the night air thick with dread, each heartbeat a wild drum in her ears. The old bookstore faded behind her, but the woman's laughter clung to Mia's thoughts like smoke. You are our last hope. The words hung heavily, each syllable a chain that tethered her to a fate she desperately wanted to avoid. Rounding a corner, she stumbled upon a narrow alleyway, a possible refuge from the ever-hungry darkness. Taking a shaky breath, she slipped inside, pressing her back against the cold brick wall, hoping to catch her breath. The familiar rustle of paper floated back into her mind, the books she had brushed past earlier. They were alive, she thought, and perhaps they held the key. She fumbled to catch her breath, the flickering streetlights barely illuminating the path ahead. Shadows leaped and twisted, pulling at her sanity. Each rustle, each whisper, felt like a prelude to terror. She had to find the others. This quest, shrouded in darkness and despair, was beginning to feel less like a choice and more like a necessity. From deeper within the alley, she heard low murmurs. Fear prickled at her skin. Were they calling to her? Help us, please. The pleas echoed, drawing her closer. Each step felt heavier, as if the darkness had begun to awaken and seep into her very bones. With every ounce of courage, Mia turned the corner into a small courtyard. Abandoned furniture lay strewn about, a wrinkled doll perched precariously on a dusty armchair, its eyes like black marble staring blankly into the void. Goosebumps rippled over her skin. Then she saw them, figures cloaked in shadows, their faces mere smudges in the gloom. They swayed, forming a circle around something in the center. Help, help us, they whispered again, their voices twisting like the wind. Mia's breath caught. She had to know if they were among the lost souls the man had warned her about. Steeling herself, she approached, squinting into the murk. In the heart of the gathering, something glimmered, a small, intricate box. Do not approach. A voice sliced through the whispers, low and ominous. A figure broke from the group, tall and looming, adorned in dark fabrics that seemed to absorb the light around him. The wolf? Turn back while you can. His eyes, glinting like cruel stars, pierced through her resolve. This is not for you. But the box called to Mia. She felt an unseen force urging her closer. Whatever you are waiting for, it's in this box, she said, hesitatingly, her heart racing. Just tell me. The wolf smirked, exposing teeth that looked unnaturally sharp. Oh, you have much to learn, little girl. Each choice leads to a consequence, and consequences are intertwined like the fates of those trapped here. The words dripped with malevolence. Just then, one of the shadowy figures stepped closer. It was a woman with hollow eyes and trembling hands. We are the others, she croaked. You must help us. Unlock the box. Mia shook her head, panic surging. I don't know how. The wolf's laughter echoed through the courtyard. Time is running out, Mia. The more you delay, the more your fate intertwines with the others. They will come for you. The game has already begun. The shadows surged forward, a tide of desperation crashing against her. The woman's eyes widened, pleading. You have to decide. Before he takes another, terror crawled up Mia's spine. She was drowning in a sea of choices, each more harrowing than the last. With a scream caught in her throat, she made her choice. Mia lunged for the box, intent on learning the cruel truth hidden within. But the moment she touched the cool surface, the world spun, and a flash of light enveloped her. An all-consuming darkness surged toward her, threatening to pull her under. As reality fractured, the wolf's voice echoed in her ears. The truth will bind your fate forever. Mia had stepped into the unknown, but would she unlock secrets of anguish or become a prisoner of the shadows alongside the others? As the light dimmed and the screams drowned in silence, Mia realized she might have just opened a door to a nightmare more horrific than she could ever imagine. The darkness swallowed Mia whole. As she hovered in that void, the weight of choice pressed on her from all sides, thick like fog. Her heart raced, pounding against her ribs like it wanted to break free. Light danced teasingly beyond her grasp, flickering like a dying flame. Suddenly, she gasped. Mia found herself back in the courtyard. Nothing had changed, yet everything felt different. She was still surrounded by the shadowy figures, their whispers growing louder, swirling around her like storm winds. The box lay before her, shimmering ominously, but now it pulsed with a dark light that seemed to resonate with her very being. "Open it," the hollow-eyed woman urged, her voice a raw scrape. Mia could see the desperation etched into the woman's face, and it chilled her to the bone. The others echoed the plea, their voices a haunting chorus. Were they trapped like her, or were they something more sinister, waiting for her to make a fatal mistake? Mia took a step back, shaking her head furiously. "I won tea." But the moment she said it, the figures crashed forward, their shadows dragging her toward the box. Panic set in as she struggled against the faces that seemed to metamorphose before her, a mixture of agony and hope twisted on those wretched souls. Then she noticed it, the box had begun to vibrate, sending tremors through the ground beneath her feet. The wolf loomed nearby, his presence suffocating and cold. "You think you can resist? Too late, the choice has already been made. You are bound to us now." His voice slithered into her mind, filling her head with visions of a twisted reality where the boundaries of hope and despair blurred. Mia staggered, clutching at her temples. "This can't be real," she gasped. "Oh, but it is." The wolf's eyes glinted with excitement. "You will uncover the truth and perhaps some inner darkness too." With a final lurch, the woman with hollow eyes reached out with gnarled fingers. "You must make the choice. The box holds salvation or destruction." Mia felt the gravity of those words. What would it unlock? The secrets shared in the shadows? The lingering souls who craved freedom or vengeance? As if in answer, the box jerked violently, and she felt something release, an ancient breath of despair that washed over her like ice water. The figures started to writhe, their limbs twisting unnaturally as they gasped in unison, "You must believe." It was then she saw it, the darkness creeping from the edges of the box, tendrils of shadow snaking out, reaching, trying to pull her in. Heart racing, Mia hesitated. Could she really bear the truth? Against her better judgment, she reached for the box again, torn between dread and desperate curiosity. The moment she pressed her palm against it, a blinding wave of vision hit her like a freight train. Screams echoed in her ears, flickering images of past lives lost, chains breaking, hearts shattered. "Let it in, Mia. Embrace it." The others cried, their voices merging into a horrific symphony. In that moment, she understood the choice was never just hers. It lay with them, the shadows that lived and breathed through her. She could feel their pain, their fears cascading over her like a torrential downpour. Mia steadied her breath, determined to confront the darkness revealed before her, but as she focused on the swirling chaos, a new voice broke through the sound of laughter, thick and taunting. "You think you are ready for the truth?" How naive, Mia gasped, her heart plummeting. "What is it?" In that instant, the shadows trembled, a deep rumbling echoing through the courtyard. She felt it, the encroaching threat of a power awakening, something much more terrifying than she had anticipated. The wolf smiled, a grin that promised deceit and horrors unimagined. "Everything you know will be upended. And only one among you can truly rise." Fear coursed through Mia. Who would survive? Who would fall into the abyss? And as the laughter grew, joining the chaos, she felt a terrifying realization settle within her core. What if she wasn't meant to survive at all? With that looming thought, the shadows began to close in again, dragging her deeper into the web of fate. Mia's heart skipped. If she couldn't escape, how could she ever hope to save anyone else? "Will you embrace the truth or become a part of the shadows?" The whisper echoed in her mind as the darkness enveloped her once more. What awaited her now? Mia's heart slammed against her chest like a desperate drum as the shadows clawed their way closer. She felt them tightening, a coiling darkness ready to choke out her last breath of hope. But a flicker of determination sparked within her. "No. I'll face this," she shouted, her voice echoing against the stony walls of the courtyard. With adrenaline coursing through her, she stepped forward, palms raised to the shimmering surface of the box. "Show me," she cried, willing the truth to emerge, ripe for plucking. As her fingers grazed the surface, the tremors intensified, sending ripples of light and darkness crashing across her vision. A wild swirl of images bombarded her, students laughing and playing, their youthful joy subverted by an unseen tragedy. Faces twisted in anguish, begging for release, called out from their eternal imprisonment. Release us! They screamed in a terrifying chorus, drowning her senses. Mia staggered back, struggling to maintain her grip on reality. I can't just, she gasped, realization slicing through the haze. This was all connected. The wolf, the missing students, the shadowed histories, they were all akin to cancer, feeding off fear, feeding off silence. I can't help you until I know what binds you. Rage mingled with despair as she forced the words from the depths of her chest. What happened to Wolf Wilson? Why are you all trapped? A hush fell over the shadows, their myriad faces turning to listen. The wolf stepped closer, the insidious grin still plastered against his face. Victims of the same cycle, my dear. No closure, only the echoes of what was lost. Each whisper binds us, but you are the key to unraveling it all. Please, said the hollow-eyed woman, her voice wavering. Break the cycle. Find Wilson's heart, hidden in darkness, from where the shadows seep. Only then can we be freed. Mia's pulse quickened with a sense of purpose. It wasn't just about facing the wolf, it was about confronting her own shadows. She could feel the weight of the box against her palms, a tangible reminder of the burden the trapped souls carried. Show me. Mia shouted once more, fingers pressing against the box, demanding answers from the darkness. In a blinding flash, the courtyard twisted and morphed into a forest, a dense thicket shrouded in mist. She stood among towering trees, cold and sharp against her skin, the air thick and damp. The whispers returned, guiding her through the fog. The heart followed the light Mia wove through the twisted trunks and shadows, the disembodied voices thrumming like a heartbeat, urging her deeper into the woods. The path opened before her, growing brighter. The light beckoned like a lighthouse amidst chaos. As she drew nearer, she glimpsed a silhouette, Wolf Wilson, his figure standing alone, tethered by chains of shadow. Help me, he murmured, the smirk gone, replaced by desperate clarity. I'm here. I want to leave you. Mia rushed forward, but something pulsed within the darkness, pulling her back. The shadows writhed as the wolf's face shifted, anguish flashing in his eyes. You can't save me. I've become the Keeper's nightmare unless you confront him. Terror twisted her gut. But how? The air crackled with tension, the shadows approaching, hungry, relentless. Mia glanced back, heart racing. The truth was finally clawing its way to the surface. You were the light. You can be the light again. She screamed. In that instant, the shadows recoiled, fear flickering in their depths. Mia stepped solidly into the light, willing it to consume her fears. No more. You will be freed. The night erupted in a surge of energy. The forest swirled with restless longing as Wilson's chains shattered, releasing a blinding glow. The voices joined together in a euphoric symphony. Thank you. They echoed, the shadows retreating as the light enveloped Wilson, but the wolf emerged in a howl of rage, his form a storm of chaos. You think you've won? He lunged. Darkness does not surrender easily. Mia squared her shoulders. It's not about just you, she countered passionately. It's about everyone you've harmed. I'm not afraid anymore. The light expanded, flooding the hollow woods and spilling back into the world outside, chasing away shadows until only Wilson remained. The wolf wailed as the light bore down, you cannot do this, you don't understand the abyss. But Mia didn't relent. You were once a shadow among the light. This is where you either repent or be reclaimed. With a surge of her heart's power, she pushed once more, igniting a streak of radiant energy that enveloped the wolf. With a final scream, he dissipated, the shadows racing away into the night, banished by the light that Mia had summoned from her own fury and compassion. The air grew still, the smell of damp earth filled with a zephyr of hope. Mia's heart slowed as she turned to Wilson, now wrapped in a gentle glow, freed from his torment. Thank you, he whispered, the warmth of gratitude softening his features. You showed me a way back to light. In a swirl of promise, the shadows transformed, drifting into the vast darkness, their souls released. The encroaching dread that had once threatened Mia fell away, replaced by a breath of exhilaration and relief. And as dawn broke over the horizon, casting its golden embrace over the grove, Mia stepped forward. This was her new beginning. She would be unbreakable not just as a teacher, but a guardian, a beacon of light for those lost in shadows. The battle was won, for now. But it was also a reminder, darkness was always waiting, always lurking, just beyond the corner of light. Mia turned and walked home, heart light with hope and resolve. She would tell their stories. Their names would not fade. They would be heard. Before you go, there is something crucial I need from you. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss our next exclusive story, packed with suspense and twists. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, help others discover these tales, and support what you love. Flood the comments section with your theories, reactions, and what you thought of this conclusion. Your voice matters. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this awesome conclusion. Remember, only true fans like you understand how vital it is to support the channel. Let us keep the stories alive.